Welcome to Saturday versus Sunday. I'm John Barbin. With me is Jeff Dover, and let's talk football.
We're a couple of football fans. We watch football on Saturday and Sunday. This is our review of the Chiefs-Giants games. What's your initial thought?
It's time for Jaxson Dart.
Just last week, that Wilson looked incredible. Had his career high in passing yards, and it's zero of it transferred over to this week. So, don't know if the Chiefs saw something or reacted differently, or I don't know what it is. But it was, man, it's how much regression took place in 1 week was crazy.
Well, I don't think he progressed last week. That was one of those odd games where it was just defense optional for the whole game. Dallas's passing defense is nothing to shout about. They just gave up 300 yards to Caleb Williams, too.
Yeah, I think yes, you're right. That's, in hindsight, that's what happened. Yeah.
In that game last week, we're going to dwell on Wilson here. This is not going to be a huge talk about the Chiefs because getting right against the Giants, that's what every team does in the league. But Wilson threw the game-ending interception last week that wiped out the benefit of all those 450 yards of passing, because that was a second down play in overtime where he just threw it up in the air for the sake of throwing it up in the air. Mm-hmm. And again, he was throwing picks in this game too. He's just not it. No. And I don't understand people who want to give him any more rope here, because right now they are 0-3. And I looked it up. The odds of you making the playoffs at 0-3 are 2%.
I was going to say less than like 10, but yeah, that's about right.
2.
Yeah.
And that might hold for the Bengals last year with Burrow, something like that. Like you have to have an MVP caliber quarterback, and somehow you inexplicably dropped a few games. Like, for example, let's say the Chiefs went 0-3 this year. Mm-hmm. They might be one of the teams that could do the 2% thing, or the Ravens and Jack, something like that, or the Bills and Allen. Not this clown. Like, what does this guy still do? He better not see the field next week.
No, we talked about this at the beginning of the season, because their schedule isn't doing them any favors either. Because up next they've got the Chargers, which after what they did, against the Broncos, we just did the review of that game. If you haven't listened to that one, go back and listen to that. But they're probably going to lose to the Chargers. Then they've got the Saints, which might be the only one they could win. But then it's Eagles, Broncos, Eagles after that. So, and I don't see so this is staring a 1-7 in the face. So like, it's, do you want to wait until then to go to Dart, or I don't know, like, why? I don't see any point, but.
Well, I was on Twitter and there was somebody put up that sequence, that first and goal sequence. Actually, you know what? Let's cover that right now.
Yeah, let's do that.
It's my favorite thing.
You couldn't wait to get to this.
So everyone knows about it, but it bears repeating. So this game isn't technically out of hand. Now, maybe for the Giants it is, but on a weekend where people were coming back, like the Browns came back and scored 13 unanswered points in 3 minutes to win that game, and the Eagles blocked 2 kicks, and the Jets. Now I know the Jets lost the game, but the Jets there's ways to, on the same day that multiple teams in the NFL engineered comebacks within a couple of minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. Even the Chargers, like Herbert's final drives there. Yep. Multiple teams engineered drives to win a game. So we're at 3 minutes and 15 seconds left, something like that.
In the fourth quarter.
Fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Giants have the ball. It's a stretch, but the game isn't completely out of reach. At least they can make it somewhat competitive. Mm-hmm. They're first and goal on the 4-yard line, and he takes an intentional grounding. He just throws it at the back of the end zone. Mm-hmm. Then, so now you've gone backwards. You're second and goal on the 14, and then he just has a useless 4-yard run up the middle. I don't know if it was designed, but that play was not getting him in the end zone. Mm-hmm. Then you go third and goal from the 10-yard line, and another airmail almost into the crowd. Mm-hmm. Then on fourth and goal, he hits the uprights with another throwaway. Well, I don't understand. How are you throwing the ball away on fourth down? Throw it anywhere. Maybe you'll get a pass interference. Just anything other than throwing it and hitting the crossbar or the upright, wherever the ball hit. What are you doing? It's fourth down. There is no more options here.
One of the key things for pass interference was the ball catchable? Like, that's what's one of the key parts of the penalty. And what you're doing, you're ensuring you're taking that off the board. by throwing it the upright, there's no chance of it doing A, for the person catching the ball, or B, to get a penalty in that case. So like the only way that ensures nothing happens is by doing what he did, which is crazy.
It's unbelievable. So here, back to the Twitter thing. Somebody who was a diehard Giants fan, because I made some little post saying, like, after seeing this, like, Dart has to start. Mm-hmm. And he's like, no, we got to give Wilson at least 7 games. And my question back was, to what end? Mm-hmm. Knowing that an 0-3 start essentially guarantees you're not making the playoffs. Mm-hmm. So, okay, so that means this season's already a write-off as far as making it to the playoffs. So now all you're doing is playing for a worse, I guess, draft position. Right. So
showing Dart what not to do. That's really what it is, which is not, that's not a good training mechanism.
Well, do they believe that him sitting, he's going to somehow learn? So all I can see is more dysfunction, Dayball and Shane getting fired, and then Dart in his second year maybe goes in with a whole new coaching staff, having to start all over again. That's also not good for a rookie. So to me, there's only 2 options here. It's either Jameis Winston, which would be so much fun, yes, or Dart, but it isn't this clown again. Yeah. This has to be over with Wilson. I mean, he threw 3 touchdowns against Dallas, still lost, and threw the game away. And in the other 2 games, he had no touchdowns. Mm-hmm. So it does 450 yards still wasn't enough. It doesn't matter what this guy does, because he will throw the game away. He's 3 touchdowns and 3 picks on the season. The season's over. They're not going to the playoffs. Now it's how long. And I talked to Louise, and it's just how long everyone in New York believes it's just how long it takes for them to fire Shane and Dayball at this point.
Yeah, no, and it's really. What's frustrating too, if you're a Giants fan and you're watching this, and the commentators don't even understand like what's going on. Like this was another case, we talked about this in another game review, where it's like Neighbors is really good, and he was actively like not targeted or got the ball for so long, and he was in the Collinsworth, even at the end, he's like, give him a reverse or something, like give him something, like, because he's one of the most talented people out there, and he's literally like not getting the ball. So it's just crazy when something like that happens. Like as limited as Wilson has been, like you still have that guy. Like, I can't believe that he's not just being targeted more. So
well, they did do the broadcast did a good job of showing how they were bracketing him, and really Spagnuolo did a great job of taking him. They just took him away, and it was like, beat us with anybody else. Right, one is not beating us, and it was pretty effective. And I guess they also knew Wilson's just going to try to read the defense and make the play that is available, and not try to make a play with Neighbors. Like maybe Dart would have that. Jameis Winston would try to make that play, but Wilson's like, oh no, the defense tells me he's covered. I'm going here, and it worked like a charm. It was just way too easy. Now, obviously, the Chiefs are top 3 defense, so maybe they're one of the only defenses who can be coached to take a guy away and actually take the guy away. Yeah. So you got to give the Chiefs defense credit for taking the best player just completely off the board.
Yeah. If I'm a Giants fan, and Dart is serviceable, all of a sudden this team feels real different, because Scadaboo looks like he might be pretty good. Like, he's at least an amazing change of pace back, right? Like, between Tracy and Scadaboo, like giving both of them carries, I think is a great way going forward. Neighbors is really good. I think Wan'Dale Robinson has looked good, like as a wide receiver, and the defense is good. Like, there's still some really amazing players on defense, so like this isn't a pitiful 0-3 team. Like, there's some other teams that really I don't see much hope. This one Burns is amazing. He looked like a monster in this game too. So it doesn't feel like it's that far away. Like they like you said, they were in this game, against a team like the defending Super Bowl, attendees,
runner-ups,
runner-ups. Like they were in this game. So,
well, I mean, and that's the thing, that for well into the second half, you could say if they could just put a couple drives together, they're still in this game. And this was okay. So the Giants are a mess. The last thing we'll say, Scadaboo looks totally legit, and that leads me into the Chiefs side of this. Nick Bolton is God damn it, that guy's a great linebacker. Yes. But that was a great statement on, national TV, head-to-head, Scadaboo, Bolton squares them up, and Scadaboo bounces right off of him. And to me, that was the Scadaboo introduced himself to the NFL. It's like, no, I can play at this level. I took one of the best linebackers in the league on one-on-one, and Scadaboo's he's just a fire hydrant.
Yeah.
And he bounced off of him, and he got the first down. And then there's that other great clip of him chipping a guy. And I mean, you might want to call it a chip. I mean, he declated that guy.
Yeah.
And so he's the most fun player on this whole team, I think.
Yeah, 10 carries for 60 yards and 6 receptions for 60 yards. As a rookie in the third game in. And that's I feel like the 6 receptions for 61 yards is pretty special considering who's throwing him the ball. I mean, imagine if they had a better QB, what that'd be like. Yeah. So no, if you're a New York fan, there's some things to like about this team, which makes it extra frustrating to start 0-3 with really nothing. I want to say nothing looks good going forward, but it's going to be, their schedule's still tough. It's really tough. So
the change seems so obvious. Like the change to get rid of Wilson. Also, my last note, and a bunch of people have said this, maybe Daniel Jones wasn't the problem. This coaching staff doesn't seem to know what the hell it's doing. Get Dart in there.
If you ask the Colts, the Jones wasn't the problem. So yeah.
All right.
So another stuff about the box score. There's a good example of some of the Chiefs had 306 yards total, which isn't a lot. That's because the Giants' defense was good, and the Giants had 281 yards. So it's not significantly different, which is sort of indicative of how close this game was. One of the key numbers, though, was the third down efficiency. The Chiefs were 8 for 15, so that's just being able to keep drives going, and the Giants were 1 for 10. So you're not going to do anything with 1 for 10 on third down. So
all right, so let's talk a little bit about the Chiefs here. So yeah, the efficiency thing that's new for the Chiefs. They've been kind of bad at that lately.
Yes.
Also, 105 yards rushing, and it wasn't Mahomes.
No, that was nice. That's Pacheco is the last game he had was pretty rough, but this is more of what he's capable of doing this. So splitting up the carries between Pacheco and Hunt, so this is a pretty good plan. So I'm glad that looked more effective than usual. Yeah.
So Chiefs fans can feel good at least about that they could put some kind of run game together. I don't know. I mean, we have to think that the Giants' defensive line's pretty good. So getting the run game going and it not just being Mahomes scrambling for his life and scrambling this was an actual. You'll take that. You'll take 100 yards. And it's your actual running backs that get it, not Mahomes out of desperation. The other thing, maybe Mahomes is building a rapport with this Thornton guy.
Yeah, that's another note that I have because this reminds me of when the Patriots they had Brady, but they would just sort of cycle people in and out, and and then they're like, oh, this person's going to be good, or where did this guy come from, and I feel like Mahomes is in that category, because I don't think going into the season, I don't know if a lot of people were like, oh yeah, this guy he's going to be able to rely on Thornton, but he looked really good, and it looked like he's getting better each game, in terms of what he looks like. So, but he looked like he's going to be a weapon for them.
Yeah, so this wasn't an offensive explosion by any means by the Chiefs. Again, it was it's typical Chiefs of the last year, and now this year they just don't score a lot. But they at least spread the ball around. Some of these other receivers who just need to step up, given that their top 2 receivers aren't there right now, they seem to be stepping up, specifically this Thornton guy. I don't think he's going to be I don't think he's moving down the depth chart when Worthy and everyone else comes back and Rice at this. No, he's playing well enough to remain as one of the top receivers.
Yeah,
now.
Absolutely. So the first game of the season, he had 4 targets. He had 2 receptions for 40 yards. Next game against the Eagles, he had 5 targets for 2 receptions for 59 yards. And now he was 9 targets for 5 receptions for 71 yards. So it's going up. So he's proven himself to be a bit more reliable than what people thought, I think, going into the season.
And a deep threat, specifically bombs. And that 2, didn't they go back to back? On those 2 bombs, where he caught the second one, just went right back to the same play,
and because he just missed the first one.
Yeah. And I said this last week about the Chiefs. To me, it's so somehow this offense is limited. It's either something really short, like a dump off, very limited in the run game, but they seem to be able to hit some bombs if they bother to. It's just most games they don't even try them till the end of the game. And maybe they got too used to just the games being tight, and then, we might have to throw the ball downfield here. And then they just go for it. Now, that's obviously there's no film breakdown. Maybe people weren't getting open. But, man, when they do it, it seems to work like more often than it seems to be. Why not go for those deep shots sooner in the game? And this guy, maybe they don't trust him, but they got to start trusting this guy now because everything he catches seems to be down the field.
Yeah, and I think you're right. I think going forward, this is going to be really important because they're 1-2, which is not, we talked about in the last episode for the, was it the last one for the, no, it's this episode, just making the playoffs. 0-3 is like 2%. So they're 1-2, which isn't great, for the first 3 games. And they've got the Ravens coming up next, and then the Jaguars, then the Lions. So like that's, it potentially could be 2-5 or something like going through. So
Lions, we're going to that game.
Yeah, we are. That's going to be a big one. So that's just because we're going. So, but that's, that they're this change of like spreading the ball around in offense or making it look a little bit better, like has to continue because otherwise they're not going to, they could be, this season could be over soon if they don't turn it around.
And maybe a promising sign. I guess you could look at this 2 different ways, not overly reliant on Kelsey. Yeah.
Well, there is some, Kelsey isn't like, he's still effective, but it's not like how it used to be because he used to be unstoppable and it's not like that anymore. And there's something, I don't know what it was. Did you see the bit of the blow up on the sideline? It was like him and Reed were yelling at each other. So, and I don't look too much into that, but it's because that happens in football and, people are good at squashing stuff afterwards, but like, it's never, that's still be concerned. Like the offense needs to turn a corner. So, and they needed this game. So, and they did, and that's what good teams do. So hopefully it's a sign of going forward.
Yeah. And the fact that they can get some production out of other tight ends is another something that Chiefs fans can grab onto here. It doesn't, it's not tight. It's not Kelsey or nothing. They were actually getting the ball to other tight ends. And he was really spreading it around a little bit here. Like a lot of different people like got to eat in this one. Yeah. Now it's not like they blew the lights out. It wasn't a 35-point explosion or anything, but at least it's funny. They arrived at the same 22 point. They arrived at the same typical point total the Chiefs always arrive at, but they arrived at it totally differently this game than what we've been seeing lately.
Yes. No, very true. And it was 16-9 at one point in the fourth quarter. Like that's a 1-possession game. So,
oh yeah, they're still doing it ugly, and I'm sure there's still there's a lot to be desired for a Chief fan looking at this, thinking that's it. This was the Giants, and it was still that close. Like this. Look at the points Dallas put on the Giants, and we can't do that. And Dallas is nothing to shout about. So
exactly,
they're still concerned for this offense. The defense is still there, obviously, but the offense is still
needs to take steps going forward. Yeah. Otherwise, those games, the Ravens and the Lions, like those are going to be tough. Offense has to be better than this to beat those teams.
Yeah, there's a couple good signs here, like getting 100 yards rushing without Mahomes scrambling. Thornton downfield's looking good. A couple getting the ball to other tight ends.
Right.
Those are little arrows, not big arrows, but little arrows in the right direction. But you're right; those arrows have to start turning into big ones when the big dogs, when they're up against the big dogs.
Yeah, you're right.
All right, I think that's a good place to leave this one.
Yep.
All right. If you're still with us, we appreciate you checking out the channel. We know it's really small. We just started it last year. So if you like what we got going on, we'd super appreciate a like and a subscribe. It would really help us grow the channel if you want to support us. All right. So for Jeff Dover, I'm John Barbin, and that's your Saturday versus Sunday podcast.